So, first question. I'm actually I'd like to know like what motivated you to even want to start a short-term rental business in the first place.
Yeah, so it's always been a vision that I've had just in the back of my mind. I guess you'd call it like a dream. I've always wanted to have multiple properties and be able to offer them to guests, to family members, to anybody really. But what lacked there was a plan to execute. I'm sure something we hear pretty much all the time is you're thinking that in order to have these properties you have to own them, and that was just something that completely caught Emily and I off guard when we stumbled across arbitrage. And it's actually Emily that did the research. We can kind of get into that in a little bit, but she's the one that first found out about rental arbitrage. And we slowly started looking into it before we decided to dive all in, and
Yeah.
that's how we found you guys.
Yeah.
Nice. But I'm curious like what was the
I can answer that more concretely, I
What?
think.
yeah, I kind of want you to go deeper, Tell me like
No, yeah. So we actually own an agency for insurance,
okay.
and he's like the Sean of insurance.
Hmm.
Don't say that. Come on.
No, because
Not quite.
no, but he does. He really knows everything that there is to know about it. And when we were about the middle or towards the end, I guess, of the pandemic, we have a bunch of agents that were up north, and they were under lockdown. I mean, we're here in Florida, so Florida's always like free willy nilly. You can do whatever you want.
Mhm.
But when it comes to some of the states up north where we have agents, they were under lockdown, and we were like, crap. Like, how can we get our agents to still be able to write business for us? How can we offer them also incentives to still expand our business in the agency? And then he was like, oh, well, we can do like Turo cars. And then he went
Yep.
a little bit
Looked into
further,
Turo.
and then he was like, wait, what if we were to just get a space and we were to just like Airbnb whenever we don't have our agents in there, but when we do have our agents, we can house them. It's an incentive. We don't have to, go ahead and really charge them as much because we're making part of their commission. And so it kind of began like that. And then I started doing some research, and I mean, not to toot Sean's horn or anything, but everybody I was finding was like, kind of giving me mediocre information. And I really just didn't feel secure in what they were dishing out. And I just wasn't catching it. I was like, no, I don't, it doesn't seem like it makes sense.
A lot
Um,
of gurus out there,
yeah, too many. So we were just like, and then I came across Sean, and I was like, holy shit, this guy is like, oh, am I allowed to curse?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay, sorry, I curse like a
Open
sailor.
forum.
Open
Okay,
forum.
sure. So I was like, oh man, like this guy is really attuned with everything. He's not only answering questions that I did have for free, not charging me an arm and a leg or advertising to charge me an arm and a leg, withholding this information, but he's also bringing up a bunch of matters that I didn't even think to ask. And
Hmm.
that's why I was like, oh, because that's how he was when it came to insurance. And I was like, oh my gosh, this guy's kind of like you. He knows all the ins and outs, and he's like really like cool, calm, and collected dude. And he's like also like, just really about his business. And then I showed him a couple videos. He's like, yeah, I really like this guy. And I was like, oh, okay. So that's how it began. And then we did initially start thinking it was going to be for the agency, and we're like, oh, actually we can make more money off of this just Airbnb it. So yeah, that's how it began.
Yeah, I think we just needed to find the right system in place, and for us is a lot more natural of a transition since we already had a similar structure in place coming from the insurance world. And listening to Sean's pitch, it's very easy for us to kind of tie in what we do, and basically have that be the reason why we're looking to pick up corporate rentals. So instead
Hmm.
of saying, basically that we're looking for travelers, we have our own agency.
Yeah.
So that's more or less what we how we saw our way into entry. And Sean's system that he has just down to the T, just everything was just everything and more we can possibly ask for. So it's great timing.
Wow, that's really cool because your story that you just said is very similar to how Sean got started. I mean, I don't know if you went back and heard his story, but he started somewhat similar, except he didn't ever planned, because he had a business also. Well, I believe he still has it, where he sells newspapers, and
Yep.
he had like sales reps, and he also wanted his sales reps to have like maybe like a package for coming on and working with him. Like they'll get an apartment in Dallas or something like that.
Hmm.
But he had never like thought about Airbnb it until like somebody ended up quitting, and he got stuck with the lease, and he was like, all right, well, what do I do with this lease now? And
Yeah.
then he came
Yep.
across Airbnb just like you guys. So that's really cool. So okay, so you guys saw Sean, saw the free information, and then what was your next step after that?
I had an interview with you.
Really?
Yeah. And I think it was funny. I was doing my nails and you're like, okay, so, you're really prying me. And I'm like, this guy, I wish we had him on our sales team. And he was just like, you're really intense about it, but like, like also nonchalant. And I'm like, all right, I see what you're up to. And you were just telling me, like, hey, so, what's it going to take? Like, we have this promotion ongoing and I was for, the next 24 hours, I don't know if the prices are going to
Perfect.
change. And I was like, okay, I see you. And we really, we do like to be, somewhat educated in what we're doing. We don't just like to dive head first, even though I seem like I'm a little aloof and I might do that. And he's more the cool, calm, collected one. We did want to still do a little bit more research because I was like, shit, if Sean could do this by himself, we're salespeople. Why can't we do it? So I think I gave it like another week of me just calling and being rejected and rejected and rejected. And after like my 100th call was like, I don't really see any movement. So I was just like, fuck it. I'm gonna go ahead and do the course. So I told Jordan, I was like, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna call Alberto. And he was like, oh, wonderful news. Sean has decided to honor the promotional rate for you still. And I was like, awesome. And so we started. Yeah.
Wow. So you guys got started working with us in like 2020 then, or 2021, kind of like.
Yeah, right around was it right before the pandemic or right when the pandemic
No,
started?
I think it was after, or no, we were
No,
during.
no. It was definitely during the pandemic, and that's why you were speaking with Emily for the most part, because I was busy dealing on the insurance side. And the thing about us, we're natural born hustlers. We feed off each other, but we just work all the time. And I was just paying a lot more attention to the insurance at the time, just making sure that transition, going from meeting people face to face to having to do it over the phone and still have to grow my agency and recruit and find other licensed agents. That show still had to go on. So I personally didn't have the time to do what Emily just shared with us that she did. But I'm glad she did it, and she did a phenomenal job finding the best person out there to really get us started. Because the one thing that's kind of a pet peeve to me is starting something and not finishing it. So she alluded to it before, like if we're going to choose to do something, we're going to go all in. I did my brief homework on Turo. I did my brief homework on other business ventures, and this just seemed like the more natural fit. I knew it was going to be a lot of work for us, but like I just said, we're not afraid of hard work. We just need to see the vision. We need to find somebody that we can follow, somebody that's proven, not somebody who just says things just because it sounds nice, somebody who can actually show us the evidence. And that's the eerily similar thing that really gravitated for me to want to go all in, because that's the same way I am in my agency. I don't like to sugarcoat anything. I like to share the good, the bad, the ugly of the entire business with people so they know exactly what they're getting themselves into. And if they need proof or evidence of everything, I'm an open book, just like Sean is, so it's really great that he went in and put in all this work for people like us.
Yeah, I think that's something I really like about Sean as well, that he has like a lot of content. Because I don't even, when I was doing the selling, like a lot of the times I didn't really have to be that great of a salesman because people already trusted him because of all the content they have watched, and they already, like Emily said, like she felt comfortable with him because she could tell that he actually knew what he was talking about. Because he wasn't like, oh, you gotta learn, in order to learn anything, you have to like pay the course. No, you can learn just for free first. But interesting that you say you were having trouble first with pitching landlords, and that's what motivated you to join. So after you joined, like how soon would you say that you got the your first property or your first lease?
So I don't remember because I was definitely dragging my feet, and Jordan was like, "How far are you down this course?"
It took a few months. I'd say probably about like 4 or 5 months still.
Yeah. Well,
About
Okay.
I'm
4 or 5 months.
also really anal, and I like to go through things very thoroughly. And I was like, I haven't gone through the whole
She's
course.
like, I'm only 33% done with the course. I can't
was
make any
like-
calls yet. And I'm just like, no, we're making calls now.
Right now.
Let's go do this.
I know, and I was like, oh my God, give me a break. Like I need to go through everything first. And I felt like such a loser because I was like, man, I really need to go through this course. I paid money for it. I might as well go through A to Z. And know all the ins and outs, but it's not really necessary because it is kind of like a learn as you go.
Learn
Type of
as you
thing.
earn. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? That's the same thing we teach on the insurance side.
Yeah, what do you say? Ready, fire? No, what is it? Shoot, fire? I don't know. There's some saying. he
Ready,
tells me.
fire, aim. It's not ready, aim, fire. It's ready, fire, aim. So you just get yourself ready. You go out there. You make mistakes. You learn from them, and that's when you aim. That's when you say, okay, I'm going to get better at this. This is what I'm going to do better next time, so I don't make these same mistakes again. And
Yeah. So immediately when I actually took his advice and was like, fine, I'll go ahead and just hone in on the script. And I made phone calls, I think maybe within a couple weeks. I mean, we had multiple appointments set. And it's not out of our realm of or the norm of meeting people, kind of doing like sales to sales.
and being rejected either.
Yeah,
Being
so-
rejected, we're used to that. Again,
Yeah.
coming from insurance. I mean, you're
Yeah,
not going to find many.
worse.
Yeah, and you're not going to find many people raising their hands saying, I need insurance, I need life insurance. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
so-
It's definitely something that you kind of have to position yourself in. You need a good script, you need to make sense. And that's what was missing for us
A good script.
with Airbnb until we came across,
Sean's.
cracking Superhost, and we're like, okay, this is the missing puzzle piece.
Yeah.
It's all about time and putting in the effort and spending the energy doing it, understanding that just because we do it once or twice or we make 10 phone calls and we don't get anywhere, that doesn't mean that we're not making progress. We're in it for the long run.
Yeah, so we definitely, I think like maybe a couple weeks after I actually started getting the calls in and utilizing the script, we had multiple appointments. We actually rejected a few of them because it didn't quite
Didn't make
fit
sense.
what Sean was teaching us, and thank goodness we listened, and I did go through that aspect of the course.
Because we would have most likely been so excited we just got a yes that we would have jumped right on it without doing the proper market research. And Sean, the way he breaks down the market research, that's one of my favorite parts of the course. It's so simple, it makes so much sense, but yet it didn't click for me. It didn't register for me until he said it. Sometimes you just need to have somebody, just say the obvious and take you through step by step exactly how to find the answers, what you're looking for. And then you're like, duh, okay, I should have thought about that on my own, but hey, that's what I'm paying this course for. So it's great,
Yeah, and then we did finally get a good property. We actually don't do apartments, so we're kind of we tried, but
our area being down here in sunny South Florida, it's slim pickings, especially now. Well, even more so now. But yeah, even back then, you get it through a lot of gatekeepers. You go through a lot of HOAs that are just strictly against it. And we're enrolled in this class, and we see all these other successful people in the Midwest leveraging deals and whatnot. And just for us, we weren't ready to leave our own neighborhood. We definitely took Sean's advice. One of the first things he ever tells anyone to do, just start in your own neighborhood and see what's out there. So we looked at anything and everything, but 1 and 2 bedroom apartments, it just wasn't making sense. A 1 bedroom apartment.
Yeah.
Exactly. A 1 bedroom apartment would be like $3,200, a month. And it's like, sorry, that's not going to work unless you're on the beach. But even if you're on the beach, a 1 bedroom would be closer to $4 or $5 grand. You know what I mean? And
yeah. So it was hard. We ended up doing larger properties and just going directly, making sure that we can speak to the owners, of course. And then we did have a lot of realtors, and we had one realtor who was the daughter of an owner who also coincidentally was a builder. We got super lucky because she's just daddy's little pawn and didn't really know exactly, how, oh God, I hope she never hears this. We're friends with her now. But
she's awesome.
Yeah, she's really great. But at the time she wasn't an experienced realtor, so she didn't really stop us and was like, no, you're not going to do this, when we initially pitched it. And so we
And
went.
she liked our energy and we liked her energy,
Yeah.
so we just went with it.
To the property. We met the owner, and he flat out said no Airbnb. And because we're salespeople, we were able to turn that around. And now we have a very long-standing relationship where he's just throwing properties at us, left and right. And not only that, but because he is a builder, he's also very interconnected with other builders, and we've managed to get in that way. And just through people seeing how nice their properties are and how well, taken care of they're being done because of us, they're saying, oh man, why don't you guys come and look at our properties? You guys want to Airbnb ours? So yeah, we got really lucky.
Yeah, there's really a lot that we can dive further into once she started talking about that aspect there. I guess we're not the typical conventional student that, found a deal and then found more deals by continuing to work the cycle. We got extremely lucky. Not to say we threw all our eggs in one basket. I mean, I'll never forget, as soon as we got our first property, I was like, okay, time to find our next one, And we kept calling additional landlords. We kept going through realtors. We kept trying to reach just owners. And just like we did before we got our first deal, we viewed some, certain things just didn't add up. It didn't make sense to us. It was an older property asking for over market value of, what was being offered. So we just patiently kept going at it. And then it's not to say right when we started working with our first landlord, he just opened the floodgates to us. I mean, he's not going to go from saying no Airbnb to, okay, here's all my other properties. That was definitely a process. I'd say it's a process that took maybe 2 months, 2 to 3 months. And he just really liked the way that we not only treated his home, it was a brand new construction property, beautiful 3-bedroom, 4-bath townhouse, but like the new construction type, like just really nice modern finishes everywhere. And before we knew it, he started saying, hey, I have this other property, about 20 minutes down the road. Do you want to take that one too? And just this, oh, sorry, we didn't give a time frame. We got our first property not even a year ago. We got our first property, January 5th was the lease.
Yeah.
It's when our lease started. And I didn't, again, the vision wasn't there, but hey, at least we had the structure. The goal was to be at 10 properties by the end of this year. Again, we didn't know at the time how we were going to get there other than continuing to follow Sean's course. We're at 12 now. And we're at 12 without having to work out any other arbitrage deals. We basically kept it in the family. So we're doing arbitrage with the original owner, with the owner's brother, with the owner's brother's business partner, right? It's all based off referrals from there and just how we conduct ourselves, how we run our business. And, she's not kidding when, she says we get phone calls of people who want us to take up their, whether it's a co-hosting or, management deal or even arbitrage. We're getting these calls because these owners who are builders who continue to pick up more and more properties, they're like, oh yeah, this would look really nice as an Airbnb. Well, I know somebody already who can dress it up real nice and make some really good money. That's us.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's
So
great.
we're extremely lucky and fortunate to be in that boat.
Yeah, that's an awesome story because, like Emily said, she was doing a lot of calls and you guys were getting a lot of no's, but luckily you guys didn't take that to heart. And it's really like it's not really a predictable thing. It's more of a curve, like, oh, you're getting all these no's and then you get one yes, and then that kind of opens up all the floodgates to like all the other relationships that you made with him and his brothers and all that. So that's great. And a lot of people get discouraged when they're getting like a lot of those no's. Like, I'm curious, like, what pushed you to just keep going? I mean, I guess that's surface level question, but did you guys just always know, like, are we gonna get a yes eventually?
Yeah, I think we're also like really optimistic people.
And we're really hard-headed too.
Yeah. So I mean,
We'll
in
just
the
keep
insurance world, you literally have to knock on the door. And when I was not kidding when I say old ladies are really mean. So like you'll knock on the door. I've had some make me cry.
Yeah.
So I'm just like they can be really nasty. So
Hence why I had her, slowly drift away from insurance
Yeah.
and find this next stepping stone for us in
So it was,
Airbnb.
I thought, okay, well, they can't be as mean as these people that we've interacted with in the past. And some of them, you still overcome them, and like they're lonely and they're angry and they have God knows what else going on inside.
Mm.
And so you just don't take it to heart, if someone's having a bad day, that's their problem. And then you just pick up the phone call and it's a numbers game, right? So it's very much a similar thing when it comes to insurance world. So we had gotten a little bit more of some tough skin on us than the average person, but anybody starting off, like just like anything in life, right? Like if you start going out to the gym at first, it's gonna really suck and you're gonna feel really sore the next day. But the more and more you do it, the easier it gets. And so yeah, we always knew that we were gonna do it because we had set our minds to that. So we're gonna accomplish it, and we did. And we're still going.
Yeah.
Yep.
I think something that helps too is when you learn that, like, the value that you bring to the landlord,
Mhm.
because then you negotiate differently. Because, like you said, at first he said no Airbnb, right? Like, and for a lot of people that could have been like, oh, maybe that's a no. But you guys knew that you weren't doing anything wrong by having it as a short-term rental. You guys, I imagine you guys already knew from listening to Sean that you're actually bringing him a lot of value.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And you just needed him to see it. And because of that, I'm sure that really affects how you negotiate. Because a lot of people come from it like, oh, can you do me this favor? And when you come at it with that frame, it's really like, it's not a powerful frame to have, because you're gonna really end up with some bad deals. Maybe you're gonna come out losing on the deals, and yeah. So I think that's also something that could have played
Yeah,
a really big part.
Alberta, and I think this is just sales 101, right? Like when you try to sell somebody anything, it'll be a product, a service, whatever it is, right? There's gonna be certain personality traits that you're gonna mesh well with, and others you're not, right? Some people that are just so close-minded, some people that are just, okay, what's in it for me? Yeah, no, this is it. You know what I mean? Like those people you don't want to do business with, even if they said yes to me, which we've had a few say yes to us, we've politely declined just because the vibe wasn't right. You know what I mean? But it's just all about when somebody tells you no, if they're willing to explain to you why, instead of just saying no because I don't feel like allowing you. You know what I mean? He gave us valid reasons why he was concerned, and what did we do? We addressed them, and we said, hey, look, you're not going to have to worry about this, for X, Y, and Z reasons. And all of that we picked up on being in Sean's course.
Amazing. I love it. Man, you exceeded your goal by two properties all in
Yep.
1 year. That's great.
Mhm.
So was it that first property? What was your experience running those? Or like,
Woo,
tell me,
yeah.
like, what's your experience like? Also, I kind of want y'all to get into the how you handle responsibilities as a team, right? Because Jordan
Sure.
and Emily, like,
Yeah.
how that works. So if you could
Yeah,
dive
so
into that.
let's break it down. We can answer that first question. What was it like our first time? Oh my goodness. Just like going to the gym for the first time. It is a mess. Like you are an absolute freaking mess. And that's where the thick skin really comes in. That's where the hard-headedness really comes in. And I don't mean hard-headed like we're not open to feedback, because we are very, very open to some constructive feedback, some of which
gave us some really
yes,
new ones sometimes. And
he did
yes.
during his Q&A classes. He really ripped us up a few times, and
Yeah.
it felt so good, Alberto. I'm telling you, each and every time I'm just like, ouch, that really hurt.
But now we have something to improve on.
Exactly.
So yeah, our first property, we did like most people doing their first Airbnb too. We did all of the furniture ourselves, and because it's not a little apartment,
we built the furniture ourselves.
Yeah, I mean, sorry, built it ourselves, and we also
cleaned it.
We built it.
We were the cleaners. We were the handyman. We were everything. Even though I didn't even know how to, fix a leaky toilet. I just, we had to YouTube it and figure it out. Yeah, know how to do it now.
Yeah, so we definitely did a lot of that ourselves. It took a month to get up. and renting, which I was like, ouch, because we could have definitely been making money throughout that time frame.
And we got COVID during that time too.
Oh my
So
gosh. Actually,
first time getting COVID, that completely knocked us out.
our first guest, I was cleaning the unit with COVID, and he was dying in the couch with COVID. And
Talk about timing. Yeah,
it was the
rough.
worst. So yeah, it was a mess, but we really learned from all of the mistakes. And we told ourselves, I mean, we had anticipated, I think, making what was the anticipated overall at the end of the year for that first property?
At the end of the year, it was going to be we'd still profit between 10 and 20,000.
Yeah, and I
after
think
getting all our
we just
money
hit
back.
that.
Yep,
We just hit that.
we just hit that.
So we were really
one property.
the
One
first
property. Yep.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah, because I mean, we put a lot of money, and I'm talking about first, last deposit, and like, and also all the furniture and everything else in between.
Yeah, so I know Sean, is widely known for preaching, negotiating free rent and whatnot, and we've done that, throughout this
other
journey
properties.
with our other properties, but on this first property, he wasn't going to go with it. Our own, I mean,
Yeah.
we would have lost that deal. We would have lost the relationship. All of that would have been gone if we tried to hardball him and say, no, we need X amount for X, Y, and Z reasons. You know what I mean? We actually had to negotiate with him a higher security deposit, just a couple $1,000s more. But we leveraged ourselves and we
get it
said,
back in the first year.
so
we're
come
getting
January,
it.
we're getting that back. You know what I mean? So the good thing about our situation is that, coming from the insurance industry, for those of you that don't know, there's a lot of money to be made in insurance. You make something called residual income, which is basically just money that you continue to get paid on month after month, year after year, after every client that you're able to help out. So I've been doing it for going on 7 years now. I just passed 7 years doing it, and I was really successful at it. So I saved up a lot of money. I just sold my house right before the market started to go down. So I had a lot of cash. And again, that's right when we started this course. That's right when we, started getting feelers for what's out there. So I wasn't afraid to put money down, pay first, last security deposit, if and only if the numbers made sense. And lo and behold, here we are a year later almost, and we're right on our projection. Our projection was between profiting, making all our money back, and profiting between 10 and 20,000. And that's just off one property. And next year, there's going to be a few other, challenges that we need to adjust to. We're looking to get onto other platforms as well. In fact, we are on other platforms, but we're just beginning that cycle. But the next 2 years, because it's a 3-year lease, next 2 years, our projection is between 50 and 100,000 on just that one property. So,
wow. And in terms of because you have 12 now, so with the 12, if you don't mind me asking, like, what is the monthly revenue now with the 12 properties that you have?
So monthly revenue, this month, actually in December, we're completely blowing the gasket off right now. I just checked our numbers. We're gonna do over 80,000 this month.
And we're still not fully booked.
And we're still not fully booked. We still have New Year's open on some of our biggest properties.
We just started. We're just putting them up.
And we definitely went through a rough patch, with this Airbnb bust that everyone's calling it. Last month wasn't the greatest. The month before that was terrible. But we're going through it. We did 40,000 back to back these past couple months. So the fact that now we're
without like 4 properties that we just added.
And that was without 4 properties. So now that we've added these, we're already, getting close to 90,000. Who knows? We might do over 100,000, in the month of December. But overall, year to date, in total bookings, we're over 400,000. And that right there is just, it's amazing to look at, because you're just like, wow, the amount of time and effort and just the amount of adversity that we had to go through just to get there. It only tells me that the sky's the limit. 2023 is going to be a phenomenal year. We're going to have the birth of our first son together. That's going to be a fun experience. We look forward to having, thank you so much, man. We look forward to having everything automated, not everything, but as many things as we can automated, because that's the end of it. That's the overall, game plan here to get it just like the way Sean does, where he has a team who does everything. You know, we finally brought on a house manager. We have our full-time cleaning staff. What else we have?
How long ago did you do that? The because for a while
House
it was
manager?
just you two, right? Yeah, for a while it was just you two, and then you brought on, that was your first hire, the house manager.
Yep. So we just brought on the house manager. Well, we promoted our cleaners. We tried going that route, promoting our cleaners, but they were a little too overwhelmed. So technically, we started the house manager role, I guess you could say, back in August. But we officially hired someone who's not a cleaner, someone who's just going to be the house manager. We brought them on this month, and
She's awesome.
she's
We
awesome.
love her.
Absolute go-getter. Like she'll replace batteries in a trash can. We know need to be replaced, but it's like the
Yeah.
million and one things we have to get done. We're not going to get to that anytime soon, but she does. She's amazing for helping us out for that.
Yeah.
Nice. So, Jordan, you're still doing insurance business on the side as well. And are you also
Not
Emily? Or are
even
you
on the
full-time?
side. I can't even say I'm doing it on the side, Alberto. I'm
I mean, yeah,
full-time
that's your
insurance
main thing, right? Yeah.
and full-time Airbnb.
Yeah.
Like
Okay.
I feel like basically our belief system is just we're in abundance right now. You know what I mean? We can have anything and everything we could possibly want. We just have to ask for it, and we have to be willing that when the opportunity presents itself, be willing to make the sacrifice. You know, so I knew I could handle doing both full time. You know, the great thing about insurance is, again, once you start to get used to how that whole system works, you can automate insurance as well. You know, you have your own team, you have your own agency. All you have to do is worry about continuing to pump the numbers and being there for your team for support. That doesn't really take time out of, you know, what I'm doing for Airbnb. So neither.
Is, but it comes so naturally to him that he doesn't feel it.
I'm very good at multitasking.
Yeah.
We'll put it that way.
Me, not so much.
Which is why she's a full-time Airbnb.
Yeah.
Like she's so let's talk about roles, right? Because I know you asked about that.
Right.
She is great with customer guest interaction. Sometimes, you know, we talk about how to respond to guests in a very witty way, because I'm the witty one and I know exactly how to, you know, put somebody in their place if they need to be, in a very politeful way. And Sean's the same exact way, which is why I'm just like, oh, that's awesome.
Yeah,
so
sure.
she mainly handles that, but you know, when it's a unique situation, if there's a complaint going on and we need to do some damage control, that's when I get involved and I say, hey, this is how we need to attack it. This should be our approach. But mainly she's going to do the guest interaction. I mainly do the pricing. I love the pricing. It's really cool. I used to just do it without using any software like Wheelhouse. But obviously being 12 properties deep right now, it's kind of hard to do that myself. So we use Wheelhouse. As a reference, just like I use Airbnb as a reference point, but I still go in there. I still, you know, search as a traveler on the platform, and I look to see where we stack up. I look to see where our competitors are at. I look to see what amenities they're offering. I look to see, you know, their proximity to, you know, where we are, which we're 5 minutes from Las Olas, which is like, you know, in Fort Lauderdale, it's
like the South Beach of Miami.
Exactly. So it's a really, you know, it's a spot where a lot of people visiting Fort Lauderdale want to be, and it's only 5 minutes from the beach. So prime location.
And then I usually do the home decor, creative side. We do a lot of art.
Extremely creative with it. Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, we actually just finished our one of our newest properties. Is called The Elements. It's a brand new construction.
So it's like earth, air, wind, fire.
Yeah, so each room has its own element in it. It would be fire, you know, water, air, and earth, right?
Nice.
Yeah.
Is that your first like themed property like that, or no?
No, we theme all of them.
Yeah,
Oh,
we
wow.
think all of our properties. That's one of the other things that we're just like, you know, let's try to be a little more niche. And that's one of the things that, again, thank God for Sean for ripping us a new one, because we thought we were doing enough. And we showed him one of our properties. He's like, hey guys,
this is absolute trash.
This is trash. Like, I see what you're doing. You know, kudos for you for trying to do this, but who you're trying to compete with right now, they're running miles ahead of you right
Yeah,
now.
and
You need to step your game up.
we really utilized his like little brain power when it comes to I forgot what it was, like negative space on the walls, and we did have really large walls and really large ceilings that were very empty, and it didn't look empty to us because I'm like, what do you mean, Sean? We have like an 8 foot by 10 thing on there, and he's like, oh, well, there's too much space on the sides, and I'm like, oh, he's totally right. And it doesn't photograph the same way. And so, and yeah, and he called our couch, our futon, garbage a couple times.
Yes, he did.
And
He's like, that futon's got to go. I'm sorry, guys, that thing's got to go. And I kid you not, the very next day
We
we're
did.
in there, we got it out.
We got in there, we revamped a bunch of stuff, and we showed him, and we were like crossing our fingers, like, please, Lord, baby Jesus, don't let him tell us that this is garbage again. And he's like, yeah, I remember this property. Good job. It's number 1 now on the thing. I was just like, I was like,
Wow.
thank God. But yeah, it was funny. It's you know, a learning experience, and we applied everything that he did give us that, you know, constructive criticism back to all of our other properties, and it's worked out really well. Really appreciated all that tough love.
Yeah, and I personally think if it wasn't for us wanting to go the theme route in the first place, we'd be a lot more screwed, you know, just like a lot of other people are, because, you know, a lot of people, number one, they don't have the guidance that, you know, Sean's students have, but a lot of people just think, oh, I have a home, oh, I'm just going to put it up for Airbnb,
Yeah.
you know, and I'm just going to add a plant here and, you know, paint this wall a certain color,
It'll
and
be so
it's-
themed, and
it's-
it'll be great.
it's just too basic. There's too many others out there that are just like it. So it's like, how are you going to separate yourself other than lowering your price? And if that's your game plan, you're just going to lower your price. How are you going to be profitable? So we don't lower. I mean, we do competitive pricing, like we do dynamic pricing and all that stuff, but we're still marked above your average, you know, typical expectation of what an Airbnb looks like.
Nice. Yeah, I love that. Yeah, I've seen Sean sometimes go in and go through the photos and really just like break down exactly what's going on with the interior design, because that's a really important part. Photos really matter and all that. So that's really cool. I know he did a like a unicorn theme house a while ago back, which was pretty cool.
Yeah, we're not quite on his level yet. I mean, I don't know if we're ever going to be, you know, painting a mural or, you know, creating a canvas from scratch and, you know, throwing a bunch of funky colors on it. But, you know, we have more like 3D ideas, you know, like one of our like in the air room, for instance, of the elements room, we came across this idea and we just loved it. We have clouds above the room, like literal clouds, like not real clouds, but they're clouds you could touch. It's just it's the stuffing from inside a pillow, and we just
With LED
stuck
lights in the background.
tons and
So
tons
it's
of that
like
all up on the
lightning.
wall.
It's really cool.
And behind it, you have to put LED lights on it first, on the wall, and then we just covered up the LED lights in these what's it even called? I don't even know what
Polyfill.
Polyfill. There you go. What they put in pillows, right? And the finish effect, it literally looks like a lightning thunderstorm in there. It's freaking awesome.
How do you
know,
get those ideas? Like, where do you search them up, or?
we just come across ideas, you know.
Actually, that one I got really lucky. I don't even have social media. In fact, I opened up a Facebook just so that I can have a course. So I have like my one friend on social media that I don't know how they found me. But I think I came across a really cool video, and I was looking for anything that has to do with air, because it's so hard. I was like, I can't find a mural for air. Like, what am I gonna do? Just show somebody blowing the wind? Like,
what do you do? Just paint clouds?
You know,
You know?
I was really stumped on that one. I was like, oh man, this sucks. Like, well, how am I gonna depict air? And then I saw like somebody advertising clouds with LED lights in the background. I was like, oh my gosh, it's so cool. I was like, we're gonna do that, but better. And so we did, and then we had also like we got this wallpaper on the other side adjacent to it where it looks like a tornado. So like when you go in the room, one of the sides is really dark and you can see the tornado, and then you see all the thunder. It's really cool. So we got some ideas that way. The earth room, I did a moss panel myself that I saw on Etsy that I was like, oh my gosh, it's $5,000. There's no way I'm paying for it, but I will definitely replicate it.
And there's another role of hers. She's the purchaser.
Yeah.
She purchases everything. I don't have to worry about none of that because I know that she does some really phenomenal research. She's gonna find the best price on anything there is out there.
Yeah, even though I loved Sean's price points, because I remember coming across his list. And I mean, I'm sure when he did at the time, they were like the absolute cheapest for the best quality type of stuff. But yeah, I definitely have my own list, and we go by that now. And yeah, for at least most of the basic stuff.
And if it's too expensive, we just try to see if we could build it ourselves. You know, we don't come across as like, you know, professional interior designers or anything. We're definitely trying to stay on the management side and, you know, just providing a good experience. But we joke about it all the time. We're definitely amateur interior designers, you know, and it's fun. We get our kids involved. They help us on some of the projects. So it's a nice bonding experience for I guess all of us, you could say.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, that's really awesome when you can bring the family into it and really just have them be part of the business.
Yeah.
So we're almost like running out of time here. So I wanted to also ask, because we post these interviews in the actual Cracking Superhost group also, you know, so students can see like the success stories. So what would you say like are 3 tips that you would give to like somebody that just came into the course, and maybe mistakes to avoid or just tips or things to keep in mind?
Yeah. Well, one really unique piece of advice that I can give, just sharing our story. If you know somebody didn't already pick that up already, is, you know, don't be afraid to take a deal, even if you're not able to negotiate free rent or something of that matter, right?
As long as the numbers make sense, though.
If the numbers make sense and if the vibe is right with that person, and obviously you need to find out who that person is. Do they own just one property or do they have multiple properties? Are they builders? Do they purchase land? You know what I mean? It's something similar, again, bringing back to insurance. A lot of people in my insurance industry, they leave other agencies to go for a higher contract, which means they can make more money. That doesn't always translate into making more money. It's all about the people that you're with and the people that you're doing business with. You know what I mean? So
build relationships.
Yeah, building relationships and understanding that, okay, even if I don't get the deal I'm looking for, what could this potentially do for me in the future if I really impress this person? Are they going to want to build with me in the future? Because if that's the case, then hey, I could definitely have some leverage on my side now to negotiate our next deal that we do together. So that's one piece of advice I'd like to share.
For me, I would say stick and stay, right? Like with anything, that's actually another thing we say in insurance. Oh, we're so filtered with all this insurance stuff, but yeah, I mean,
similar.
It is, and it's very relatable to any aspect of your life. You know, as long as you stay the course, you put your head down, you get to work, and you really, you know, also have fun with it. Like we definitely have fun with it, through the good, the bad, and the ugly, and we make sure that we're always looking ahead. And yeah, you stick it out, you stay with the program, and you will have success, right? So at least that's like our little positive twist. I don't know if a third one, maybe a third one.
I got one.
Oh, okay.
Well, okay, we're gonna have a third and fourth. So another third one, again, just based off of our experience, is don't get in. It's easy to get it, but just stay the course. Like she said, analysis paralysis is you know, pretty common when you're dealing with so much that Sean is providing for you. So again, listen to what Emily shared earlier, right? She was hesitant to really make that next jump, even though she already did. She paid for the course, but she said to herself and to me, which I just wasn't having it. She's like, oh, well, I'm 33% done. So, you know, I'm not ready yet. I'm not ready to make those calls. Yes, you are. I'm telling you, just do it.
Really annoying me.
Right? Just fail your way to success is really, you know, sales and entrepreneurship. You know, that's what any successful person is going to tell you. And we're not quite where we want to be. you know, when it comes to, because we really want to be in Sean's shoes someday. Like that's the target. You know what I mean? So we're well on our way. But you know, just coming from a very, you know, humble, you know, beginnings, it's just about making that next step and understanding that, hey, as long as I just focus on progress, I don't care if I'm 1% better. Let me just be 1% better today than I was you know, yesterday. Right? That's what it's all about. Don't be afraid to get on the calls, meet with these people. Even if it doesn't sound reasonable over the phone, you never know how just meeting somebody face to face can completely change the outcome.
Or
of
open up another, you know, window of opportunity for you.
referrals. Referrals are the name of the game too. Okay, what's
Yes.
number 4?
Number 4, and this is something I learned because we obviously are very different, if you haven't noticed. So he was so annoyed by a lot of our cleaners and a lot of the staff that we initially got. And I was very complacent with them. And I was just like, no, but they're right. And he was just like, no, we can find somebody who's better, who's smarter, who's quicker, who's cheaper. And I was just like, and you know, I love people. And so when we had a lot of cleaners we'd hired first, and they were just like, listen, we can't do this in this time frame because of XYZ reason. And you know, we've hired out like other people too. Like we hired out some artists to do like a couple mural work for us. And you know, they plead a really good case. And I came to find like, you know what, even with the handyman that we have now, whomever it is, if you're not happy with their level of quality of work, or you know, in anything in general in life, like if you're just not happy with it, do not settle. Because you definitely can find, there's always going to be someone who's, you know, funnier, nicer, smarter, faster, quicker, cheaper, whatever the case may be. And just don't settle. So in the business, that was hard for me at first because we were butting heads a lot. I was like, no, we can't find cleaners that are better than these at a cheaper rate. And he was just like, watch, we're going to do it. And yeah, we did. And like, it kind of really blew me away because at least the quality cleaners that we have now, like I was surprised. I was like, I didn't think anybody was going to want to get this pay and do this. And it made us really better business people, right? Not settling. So just don't be content. Don't listen to other people. Don't buy other people's bullshit. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Like don't. Yeah. So you know,
There
you
you
do
go.
you, and if you know, set the bar high, and yeah, that was a lesson I had to learn.
That was awesome. Yeah, that's
Oh,
a
one
great
more thing I'm
lesson.
gonna throw in too.
Oh, no.
Go for it.
Shared money don't make money. Don't be afraid.
Yes,
Don't be
sir.
afraid. If everything makes sense, if the numbers add up, just take the plunge. You have support. You're in this course. You should be jumping on these Q&A calls week after week with Sean. Even if you don't have a question, you should just be on there and just listening. There's so much we picked up just by being silent listeners and listening to other people's questions. Like that's why we paid for the course, really.
Wow. That was awesome. This is a great interview. You guys made it so easy. You guys just have so much like knowledge to give already. And
Appreciate
yeah, have a great story.
Telling me
Yeah,
on the
yeah.
course.
If it wasn't for you, Alberto, we wouldn't be here. Okay.
I'm really happy for like the small part I played in y'all's journey because like your story is amazing. Like I'm really so proud of y'all. That's awesome.
Thank you so much, man.
And
Appreciate that.
yeah, like if people want to like get in touch with you or like
Mhm.
search you up, like what's the best way for them to do that?
On his Facebook page.
Yeah, you can find me on Facebook, Jordan Mikes. I'm also on Instagram, the letter J, my last name Mikes 03. People call me Michael Jordan all the time, so if you guys want to call me that, that's
But
fine.
he's definitely not Michael Jordan.
Yeah, clearly. Right. People say,
You'll be
"Oh,
the
Mike
Michael
Jordan."
Jordan of Airbnb one day.
Yeah, we'll see. I don't know. Sean's already light years ahead. He's like Kareem out there. You know, I don't know if I'm ever gonna catch that.
Hey man, there's room for Kobe and Michael, you know.
That's right.
But awesome. Well, there you have it, guys. If you guys are watching this podcast on YouTube, I'll probably go ahead and post a link down below. That way you can go ahead and schedule a strategy session call with our team if you're interested in learning more about the training program, because we were talking a lot about that today. But if not, we also have like a lot of great free content on our YouTube channel, which is Sean Rakic on YouTube. So thank you two so much for your time. This was amazing. And
Thank you, Alberto, and thank you, Sean. Honestly, you guys are been complete life changers for us at this point. You know, we owe all our gratitude, all our success thus far in this short year to you guys. I'm 100% guaranteed, knowing that we wouldn't be where we are right now. We'd probably be struggling. We'd probably be quitting, in this Airbnb bust, if it wasn't for the support and mentorship that we had before the storm came.
Before, during, and after. So.
Yeah. We'll still be here, and we're always happy to help. So if anyone wants to, ask us anything, we're no, gurus. We're no gurus when it comes to Airbnb, but we still want to try to help. And like she said, we're an open book. We're always here.
Nice. Thank you guys so much for that.
Awesome.
And y'all enjoy. Happy holidays.
Same to you, Alberto.
Merry
Thank you so much. Happy New Year.
Merry Christmas.
Yes, sir. Y'all too. And we'll stay in touch then. See y'all in the
Okay.
community.
Sounds good, man.
Bye.
Take care.
All right.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
All right.